Hey everybody, so I did a poll on Twitter to see if you guys wanted me to do a reading, or if the world wanted me to do a reading on the Frenemies podcast, which is a podcast that started last September of 2020, and it's risen to such success, and it involves Ethan Klein of the H3 podcast and Trisha Paytas. What happened recently was this current week's episode was released, and Trisha and Ethan got into a disagreement. It was a disagreement, and I am a fan. I watch the podcast. It's my Tuesday jam. When it comes out on Tuesdays, I'm like, I chill back while I'm working or doing something else. I listen to it, and so it's become something that I enjoy. I enjoy a lot of different podcasts, but that's definitely one of them. So I was interested to find out from Spirit what they had to say about the likelihood that this podcast will continue. And so you guys voted, and most of you wanted this reading. 61% of you wanted this reading, so it's happening. So on this side, I'm going to be putting Trisha's energy. On this side is Ethan's energy, and then I'm going to pull 3 cards in the middle to identify the energy between them. And this is all in the likelihood that they will come back together. This has to do with their feelings, their current feelings, their past feelings, their current feelings, their future feelings. So definitely is geared more towards that aspect of it, because of course you have to get along, you have to want to do this and have some kind of desire to continue on collaborating with somebody, or with a grouping of people. And I do know that the Trisha has spoken out, and I think it's clear from what she's saying that the crew and the producers have been involved to an extent too, and have feelings. But we're going to mainly focus upon Trisha and Ethan in this. And should the cards show anything to do with the squad, so got the Ace of Wands that just came out with the Temperance. Very interesting, because that has to do with new ideas and collaboration. So, wow, and trying to put together this new material, taking one side and the other and combining them together to create something new, and a spark of a new very pregnant idea, if you will. Ace of Wands is definitely a pregnancy card for me, but it's pregnant with the inspiration of a new idea or a new passion. So, that being said, let's get started on this reading. Just wanted to brief you guys in case you come across this video and you're like, what's Frenemies? So this is going to be Trisha, past, present, future, Ethan, past, present, future, and then so that's how I'm doing it. Now a redo. Okay, that makes total sense. Okay. All right. I have a lot to say already. Let's see. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense, you guys. Yeah. Okay. So let's start with Trisha. So Trisha was really, really psyched in the past to start a new project. She wanted a redo. She really did want a redo. She wanted the opportunity to start something new with somebody that she did put her faith and trust into. At first she really wasn't sure if she could trust Ethan, but there was a sort of like a dawning on her that this was really good for her to do. This was something that she not only felt like she could like almost reinvent herself with, but that she would be able to kind of grow and change as an individual and show the world how she's growing and changing as an individual inside of this this big wheel, you know, this project, this creative project. So that is her past. Now as far as Ethan goes, Ethan sort of had a lot of the ideas behind it. She had her own ideas for as an individual, and she didn't really come into the sphere saying, I have ideas of what we can do here on this podcast. She had more of an idea coming from a personal space, like, this is going to be something that I can grow from as a person internally. Whereas Ethan had more of these ideas of what to do with Trisha, because she was so talented and multifaceted and dynamic, and he had a lot of ideas concerning the podcast itself, a lot of the mechanisms that go into the creation of a podcast in order for it to be successful, especially monetarily. So he was very determined to, you have the Queen of Wands here, so dead set and sure, okay, that this is something that he has to do, and he was really psyched about it. And he was feeling like he was also going to be perceived in a certain way, so he had a few reservations about how he was going to be perceived working with Trisha. And I don't think that was something that I don't think it comes from a necessarily mean space, like a mean, nasty, like he had, judgments about her. It's how the world and the internet perceived Trisha, and how he was going to it was maybe going to rub off on him, and he had his reservations about that. But really he was more so in this space of like, we can really make a lot of money, especially within the first few episodes. The takeoff was slow, but it really did rev up as they progressed, and that's just out there information. They've spoken about that, I think. So he really did want to create something with her, and he was determined to change her perception as well. So he wanted to do this too, because he wanted her to change for the better. He wanted to help her, and he wanted to get behind her, and he saw the potential in her to become a better human being. And I think they had a lot of conversations about that behind the scenes. I think that she really did start to open up to him once this idea was put into motion and they were going to do it. I think she really wanted to have moments where they collaborated behind the scenes and got to know each other in order for them to understand how they were going to work out their chemistry on screen. So that happened, okay? They had a really good start. They were both in the right headspace when they were, in the past, okay? They were really collaborating well. And you can see that it maintained this energy. This energy here, this past, is kind of up until the last month or so of their collaboration. So this is like you know, 8 months here, something like that, 8 months. So this is the present. This is going to be like from a month to now and currently, right? So how is Trisha feeling? Well, Trisha is feeling sort of split, okay? She's split. And I say that, and what I mean is this. She is trying to juggle her emotions from this with what is best for her future with this. So she's in this, I don't know what I'm going to do. She's kind of suspended, and she has to make a choice between two things. And I feel like as though her relationship with Moses, her fiance, has something to do with this as well, because the Lover's card is here. And simply put, the Lover's card can refer to, you know, can be very blatant and refer to lovers, but it can also have to do with a choice. So the Two of Pentacles being here too means she's juggling and she's weighing out what's best for her in the long run. What's best for her finances in the long run? What do I have to put down and sacrifice and pick up? So she's trying to figure that out. The Knight of Swords is here. So she is feeling ambitious, but we don't know necessarily what her ambitions are because she's in two minds, but she is acting impulsively. She's acting as though she wants to save herself from what is going on. I also feel like with the past, Trisha put a lot of faith and a lot of trust into Ethan. And I mean, she was growing a friendship with him and she was starting to become more comfortable with him the more that he tried to understand and give her what she needed, especially based on her mental disorders. So she's somebody that suffers from borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia. She goes to therapy 4 times a week. She's trying really hard and she's come a long way. But Ethan has been sacrificing a lot in order to cater to that. And so his feelings are definitely more on, all right, let's see if I can get through it today. Let's see if it's exhausting him because he's not handling it properly. He's trying to just get through the day, right? Instead of the long run. He's trying to get through the moment or the podcast that they have right in front of them because he wants to foster this big company that's forming, basically, this and all the success. But he is not emotionally handling himself well. She is emotionally trying and she feels that she is getting the support from him. But little does she know that he is feeling overwhelmed and he's not talking about it. So what's happening here with Ethan in the present is we have the this is so funny because twos came out, two of Pentacles came out here, and the Hierophant came out in the center card. That has to do with unlearning something. And as I said, I feel as though he has to let go of something or try to not be so traditional about things and think outside the box when it comes to how to maintain this podcast, and if he wants to, because the Knight of Cups is here. And what I feel like he's doing at present is he is also trying to maintain his charm, because you have to understand, he has H3 podcast with his wife and his whole team. So he's trying to maintain his own dignity, and he's trying to charm people. He did make a mistake, okay? He made a mistake, and I do feel like it was deceptive about the situation and how he handled it with Trisha, okay? And I think that he is reluctant to admit fault because he doesn't want other parts of his life to come to be subject to ridicule or come crumbling down because of something that she's made so public. And I understand that. I get it. It's hurting your friend, though. It's hurting Trisha. So it's best if the talks happen. So the communication can be there, okay, if they both want to. But Ethan is feeling quite emotional right now. Trisha's trying to hold her emotions together, and she's actually learning something about how to handle her emotions right now, and she's kind of trying to balance what's going on within herself. But I feel like Ethan's feeling really emotional about this. And I think that he, because the magician is here, that's how I know that he lied. Magician's a talker, magician is, and depending on the cards that it's around, kind of signals to me what's going on. I don't read reversals, I read upright, but each card has a negative and positive to them. So that being said, the Hierophant is here. There's something very he wants to go by the book, okay? He wants to do things that are traditional, and he doesn't want to stray from that line, right? But he has to in order to create. So there's something here about him and Ela too, with the Hierophant being here. I feel as though that there's something going on behind the scenes with him and his wife that has something to do with the current situation and whether or not Frenemies will continue. I really feel like Trisha could very well make the decision to come back, but I don't know how well received it would be at this current moment by Ethan and Ela. I think that they're still her friend. They're still going to be there for her. They still are going to be at the wedding, and because Trisha's marrying Ela's brother. So they're going to be in-laws, and they're going to have to communicate with each other no matter what. And whether that's distant or not, the talk still needs to happen. The air still needs to be cleared, you see? So at current moment, there is a very big standstill on the side of Trisha, but there's also this a lot of fluctuation happening within Ethan, and I mean within his emotions. He has to break down certain things. He has to deal with the fact that he feels drained, and he doesn't know how to properly handle that, and especially on top of all the other work that he's doing. They have a clothing company. They have a child. Ethan's wife is pregnant with triplets. There's a lot going on right now, and he just isn't sure what to do and how to feel right now, because he does know how to feel. He's feeling overwhelmed, but he doesn't know exactly what move to make necessarily. But I think he wants to do the right thing. I think that both of these people want to do the right thing. I feel like Ethan is leaning more towards doing the right thing by his production team, because the Hierophant can also symbolize what's been there before. And so I feel like Ethan feels as though he has to choose his roots instead of choosing to cater to something that has been emotionally, mentally draining for him, which is Trisha, and having to the thing is, he wouldn't feel drained by her if he knew how to properly speak to somebody about how to handle her. So he's going about it his own way. Meanwhile, he needs help in order to handle her. They should have Dr. Drew on again. That would be a great help to them to learn how to collaborate together, and also not only collaborate, but handle each other on a personal level, because she does need to be handled with care. She's an emotional person. And I feel at this last podcast, what happened was that Trisha was not being heard as a person. She was being heard through the lens of her mental illness on the part of Ethan, meaning that he was not looking at her as somebody who just was a business partner and had some questions about stuff. He was looking at her through the, she's an over emotional, mental case, and she's just going off again. He didn't handle her well, but he had his reasons for that. He had reached a breaking point because he didn't handle himself properly up to this point. So what is the future? And then what is the energy happening between them, right? So the future for Trisha, there's an ending, because the Ten of Swords is here, and it's a betrayal too. So you see this card? Ending. This is the first future card for Trisha. An ending. And oh man, I need to take a breath. The Queen of Cups is here. And the Knight of Wands. Just let me think about this for a second. I feel as though this ending, mixed with her level of sensitivity, I feel like she's about to go towards something different. I don't see on, this is how she is feeling right now. She feels like it's over. The energy between them is going to say a little bit more about the future of the podcast, but this is the energy for her right now. She feels like this is over. She's feeling super sensitive, and she's also feeling like escaping and going on some kind of new venture, just kind of dancing into the wind, flying off on her own, and doing things that have absolutely nothing to do with the podcast. She almost feels triggered by even hearing anything at this point. She does feel betrayed by Ethan. She feels as though she put all of her trust into him, and then what happened was he bailed. Like, she could feel him, but she didn't know what it was. Really what it was Ethan wasn't giving up on her. He was giving up because he was overwhelmed, but it came off to Trisha as though he was completely annihilating her, because she's a very receptive person. She's very emotional. So that's kind of what happened, was there's this miscommunication here, and it turned into something bigger. Trisha felt she needed to get away before she made anybody else hurt, because she knows that Ethan lost it too. She knows that he didn't handle himself well and probably knew. But now that the crew has been brought into it, Trisha decides to do what Trisha usually does, which is to leave something when she even gets a sniff of other people wanting nothing to do with her. She's going to leave before they can abandon her. So, she doesn't hate these people. She does care about these people. She just doesn't feel like she's wanted or needed. She wants to start something new with Ethan that doesn't have to do with all of the H3 crew. And that's not to say she doesn't want to work with the H3 crew. It means she wants to start with new people and bring new people in that are just her own, that are hers and not Ethan's. Like, she wants some semblance of control within this union. And so that was her dilemma. Now, Ethan, Ethan is the is feeling quite mature about the situation. He is the King of Cups and the Six of Cups and the Star. Okay, Ethan wants this to come back together. Ethan wants to make amends. Ethan sees this going very far. Ethan sees this being something that has skyrocketed him into a level of fame that he hasn't had before. Ethan feels an emotional responsibility to this situation and wants to face this with emotional maturity. I feel like he's also going to be asking for some kind of help. But he's also fond of Trisha. He is going to miss her, and he's feeling that. He's going to be feeling these emotions of like, what did I do? I miss her. I miss our collaboration. I learned so much. I want to grow more. And he's going to miss her because of the success of the podcast too. That is there. The Star is, very much about fame and fortune and reaching for the stars and reaching for more. And I really do feel Ethan wants to continue that. And in the future, I feel as though he is going to try his hardest to make amends with Trisha. That's how he feels in the future, by the way. And this is how she feels in the future. I feel like she's not ready to come back with him, but he's ready to do that. So there could very well be, you see how the middle card for Trisha is the Queen of Cups, and how the middle card for him is the King of Cups. I feel as though they are going to make amends and on an emotional level, and they're going to be friends and continue on with that. And I actually want to say that this could very well mean a future of frenemies, okay? That it could come back. It's not going to happen for at least 6 months. There's going to be a lot of cleaning up that happens and a lot of restructuring there behind the scenes, people, crew, producers, okay? Like he's going to try to make her happy, but she's also going to try to make him happy, and they're going to meet in the middle. So that's why that Hierophant card came out before. There's going to be a collaboration, and there's going to be a mixing and mending. So okay, the energy between them right now is the Three of Cups, and that is, the Three of Cups. So there's a collaboration, there's a communal thing going on. This has to do with the crew, the Three of Cups. The Page of Pentacles is kind of it's a weird card to come out in this case, mixed with the Abundance card, the Nine of Pentacles. But I feel as though there is going to be some kind of collaboration that occurs behind the scenes. We're not going to know about it per se, but there's going to be some kind of forgiveness. I want to come back together. I want to speak with you. There are going to be messages going back and forth. There's also going to be a development within the structure, like I said, the skill level of everybody involved in this. And the skill has to do with communication. And the skill has to do with, how do we continue on? This is a cash cow. How do we continue on and clear out anything that was getting in our way? So there's abundance happening within the community. This is not over. That's my prediction. I don't feel like this is over. I don't feel at all like this is over. I feel like there are bumps in the road, certainly, okay? And there are things that they have to do. Now, I did pull oracle cards beforehand because I didn't want to be here shuffling for days. What do we get from the soul trees? Communication, inspiration, the fourth chakra, the heart has to be mended, and transformation. We also got transformation down here, and endings and new beginnings. Perseverance, travel, creativity, and wealth. Growth, rejection, perfection, and passion. This is not over. There is still something there. This feels over, and I'll tell you why. Because Trisha was not being Trisha as she usually is. And that's why everybody feels like, whoa, 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 okay? And I feel like there was deception on the part of Ethan. He was not upfront about something to do with the crew, and she is feeling like, I have to run as far away so that I don't get rejected. So it's mixed. She still is working on her mental health. So her mental health has something to do with this, but her growth is what we saw. We didn't see the usual Trisha. This isn't a usual exiting. She was really trying her hardest. And I think Ethan's gonna realize that that's what happened, and he's gonna give her a lot of credit for that. I feel like he's gonna face her as the king of cups here, with this emotional support and maturity, and he's gonna tell her that, like, what a good job she's done within herself. I mean, he's got to see that. And so I do feel also, you want to hear something cool? I feel like, first of all, I feel like their communication is going to increase, and it's going to get better, and they're going to learn together how to do that. I think they might even do an episode on that. I think they might actually do an episode on communication and how to communicate with each other in the best way possible. Maybe that'll have to do with Dr. Drew again. I don't know if they'll get another specialist to come on with that, but there's something to do with that. And I also see them doing a travel podcast, meaning they're going to go away somewhere and do something, and I want to say it's tropical, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But they're going to do it. I think they'll do some kind of travel. Something is in the works with travel. So there is a lot of feelings of rejection that Trisha is experiencing, and I think that that's something that she that's being made clear at present, and that's going to be something that has to be focused upon and worked through, because Trisha will run before she's rejected, and she does not. She is so used to ending things before they've even begun because of that feeling. So there's also a lot of feelings that she has of not being enough and trying to be this perfect play this perfect role that she's playing, but she knows she goes wrong sometimes, and she's also really, like, embarrassed about that. You know, she's a sensitive person, and she puts her entire life out there. I mean, so does Ethan. Like, he shows himself fully, and he's somebody that struggles with mental illness and stuff like that. They have so much work that they can accomplish together, like great things that will, I'm telling you, money is in their future. Money is in their future. They just have to keep at it, and they have to work on their personal relationship and anything to do with the podcast and the inner workings of that behind the scenes. None of us should have ever seen what they were talking about. Nobody should have heard what they were talking about on the last podcast about money and her percentage and his percentage and all that stuff. That's not what any of us want to see. And I know Trisha's a really open person. She'll talk about anything. She's great like that. She's an open book. But there are some things that have to be kept out of the limelight. It's things that are none of the audience's business, really. So boundaries need to be set up. Certain boundaries. She needs to know what lines not to cross, and she needs to be told that by Ethan. Ethan needs to speak up about how he's feeling and work on that with somebody in the mental health field, his wife, his friends, his parent, whoever. Somebody needs to help him, maybe Moses, to better communicate with Trisha in the ways that Trisha is set up, because she can't change everything about herself. She can't change that she has mental illness, but she is certainly trying to change the fact that she has these mental illnesses, and she's trying every day to become to overcome them, and he's gonna see that. Ethan's gonna see that, and I think he already does, and I think there's mending that's gonna happen between them. So I feel like Frenemies is gonna be back. Look out for it within the next 3 to 6 months. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, this reading is for the next 6 to 8, around 6 months, so anything can change. This is not set in stone. This is what the current feelings are for this day. So it can change. Everything is malleable. So this is what I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and please like and subscribe, and I will be putting out more readings. I take any and all suggestions, and I appreciate you guys so much. Bye.